Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto becomes the new Overlord, part 1. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Naruto sighed, as he crawled into bed, and thought what a night. First I get tricked into stealing a stupid scroll, and then I find out I got a demon sealed in me. What next? Pigs flying. I just want to get some sleep. As he closed his eyes. It was some time later Naruto felt someone running their hand through his hair, and opened his eyes, and saw a teenage woman with red hair, and bluish-green eyes hovering over him running her hand through his hair. Blinking Naruto said, "Who are you?" The girl's eyes widened a moment, and said, "Ah, you're awake. Forgive me for disturbing your sleep." As she moved back a few feet, Naruto sat up, and looked at the confused woman, and said, "It's alright. I'm not mad or anything. I just was wondering who you are." The woman said, "My name is Nori." Naruto looked around, and said, "Well Nori, where are we, and how did I get here?" Nori looked at Naruto confused for a moment, and said, "You've never been here before." Naruto looked at the area around him, and saw horrible and dead trees, and said, "No, I've never seen anything like this place before." Nori said, "Wow. I can't believe my luck in finding you first. It must be my lucky day." With an odd look on her face, Naruto looked confused, and asked, "What do you mean?" Nori said, "Forgive me. It's just that not many overlords appear." Naruto tilted his head to the side, and asked, "What's an overlord?" Nori said, "Well, how do I explain it to you? I got it. Have you ever looked at yourself in a mirror, and seen your reflection?" Naruto nods, and Nori said, "Some people think when you see your reflection you are seeing you in another world. That is sort of true. There are two worlds. The mortal world and the spirit world are called the Negaverse. Where you were before was the mortal world, and right now you are in the Negaverse." Naruto got a scared look on his face, and asked, "Am I dead?" Nori said, "No. Somehow you have been blessed or cursed by the Shinigami, which allows you to go between the two worlds. Those who are able to do this are called overlords because they have power over the living and the dead." Naruto asked, "Are you dead?" Nori tilted her head to the side, and said, "Before I answer, can I explain a few things about the Negaverse to you? I could say yes or no, but there are several levels of difference here you need to know if you are going to be here." Naruto pursed his lip, and said, "Alright." Nori nods, and says, "When a mortal is born, they have a certain amount of life energy in them. Once that life energy is gone they die, so you can say that every day someone lives they are also dying a day at a time. You are with me so far?" Naruto nods, and Nori says, "Good. Now when a person ages in your world, and dies a day at a time, they are reborn here, as a creature known as a minion. Minions are the lowest level of life here. They don't remember anything about their life in the other world, but when them that is alive in the mortal world dies, minions transform, and become another race, depending on how they live their life in that world. Almost no one here looks human unless they are an overlord." Naruto said, "So you're an overlord?" Nori shook her head, and said, "No. When I was alive in the mortal world I was a human sacrifice. I have no idea what I was sacrificed for, but when a mortal dies, as a human sacrifice they come here, as a human. I don't remember anything about my life besides my name. What happens in the mortal world doesn't matter here after you die." Naruto said, "I see." Nori shook her head, and said, "No, not yet, you don't. I admit I don't know everything about this world, but I do know some things. You see, what makes you different than me besides the fact that you are still alive in the mortal world, and I am dead, is that you still have your life energy. Life energy is very valuable here. I told you I was surprised that I was the first to find you. It won't be long before others start coming to you." Naruto asked why. Nori bit her lip, and said, "I know, follow me." As she got up, and started to walk away, Naruto got up, and said, "Hey, wait up." As he ran after her. When he caught up to her she was looking at a dead tree, and said, "If you would send some energy into this tree I will be able to explain. It's hard to explain unless you see it for yourself." Naruto frowned, and thought, does she mean my chakra maybe? As he placed his hand on the tree, and sent some chakra into his hand. A few moments later the tree began to glow, and Naruto's eyes widened before he stepped back, and Nori said, "It's alright Overlord. Just keep sending your energy until it stops glowing." Naruto said, "My name is Naruto." As he slowly started to send chakra into the tree again, and, as the tree glowed, it began to change shape, until it became a glowing blue gem the size of Naruto, and Nori clapped her hand, and said, "Ah, that feels great. Thank you Overlord Naruto." Naruto looked at Nori who had her eyes closed, and said, "What happened?" Nori opened her eyes with a smile on her face, and said, "This is now your Tower of Hearts. Tower Hearts are a link between overlords and their subjects. As long as the Tower Heart exists you will live in both this world and the mortal world, but if your Tower Heart is destroyed you will die." Naruto's eyes widened, and Nori said, "It's alright. Most of those who live in this world won't dare damage a Tower Heart. Look at the ground. You see how there is grass growing a little bit right now? It's because it's bathing in the energy of your heart like I am now. It's like a feeling of peace and pleasure bathing me. Because of this many here would be willing to do anything, including becoming your subjects, so they may be close to your heart and feel this feeling." Naruto said, "So this Tower Heart is linked to me now?" As he looked at the gem. Nori said, "Yes, and the more powerful you become Overlord so does your Tower Heart. Naruto looked at the ground that was now 100 feet wide circle of green grass, and asked what now. Nori tilted her head to the side, and said well, I'm not sure. I mean I never met a Overlord before, but just then a noise was heard, and both turned toward the noise, and Naruto's eyes widened, and Nori said a minion. Naruto remembered Nori words earlier, and said that's a minion. Nori looked at Naruto, and said I told you already that there are hardly any humans here, because when they die they become something else based on what they lived like. The gray-skinned creature came crawling toward Naruto, and said oh great Overlord, I am Nat. I beg you, allow me to serve your lordship. As he marveled on the ground at Naruto's feet, Naruto looked at Nori, and asked what should I do. Nori shrugged, and said, maybe he knows more than me, and can help you. Naruto sighed, and said Nat, I guess you can serve me. Nat quickly began to kiss Naruto's feet much to Naruto's disgust, and Nat said oh thank you your lordship. You won't regret it. Naruto yanked his foot back, and said I'm starting to think I might. As he tried to shake the slobber off his feet, Nori giggled, and Nat asked what are your orders, your lordship. Naruto looked confused, and said what do you think about Nat? Nat said oh your lordship, are you asking me to be your minion advisor? In an excited voice. Naruto blinked, and looked at Nori who seemed confused also, and Naruto said oh sure. Nat said oh thank you, thank you, thank you. I promise I will be the greatest advisor I can for your greatness. Shall I begin building a tower to help defend your tower Hardmaster? Naruto asked defend it. Why defend it? Nat gasped, and said master, you should not joke like that. Someone could come, and steal it for their own master. You must defend it because if it is destroyed by a hero then you will die. Naruto blinked, and looked at Nori, and asked why would a hero try to destroy my heart? Nori said heroes here are not like heroes in the mortal realm. Heroes kill those with power in order to take it for themselves, in order to build an empire in their own image using this stolen power. Naruto frowned, and said I see yes Nat, and began setting up a tower to defend my heart. Nori said may I speak freely Overlord Naruto? Naruto nods, and Nori says this rubble was probably at one time a town or another tower. That means there might be valuables like scrolls, relics, or gold in the rubble. I would suggest that you have a treasure vault, a relic room, and a library added to your tower to store them. Naruto said great idea Nori, you have been a great help to me so is there any way I can repay you? Nori said allow me to be by your side so I can enjoy the feeling of your heart. That is all I ask. Naruto said you can be by my side, as long as you want Nori, because without you, I wouldn't have a clue what is going on. Nat said, does that mean Nori is Lady Nori's master? Naruto said yes. Nori's eyes widened, and said I'm honored you would give me such a show of gratitude my lord. I will do my best to please you, and serve you faithfully. Naruto looked confused for a moment, and asked what do you mean? Nori blinked, and said you don't know my lord. Naruto said no what? Nori said you have made me a lady of your kingdom, my lord. My mind, body, and soul now belong to you to do with, as you please, my lord. You may use me any way you wish my lord. Naruto asked you I don't understand. Nori blushed, and said would you like me to show you my lord? Naruto nodded, and Nori said, as you wish, my lord. As she moved forward, and kissed Naruto before beginning to remove his clothes. Naruto's eyes widened, as he kissed before he closed them, and thought if this is what it's like, then I think I'm going to like being an overlord. 2 hours later Naruto groaned, as he felt the need to take a piss, and he opened his eyes, and saw the nude form of Nori laying on his chest. Getting up Naruto blinked, and blinked again, and said damn. Nori, hearing Naruto's voice, opened her eyes, and said, is there something wrong with your lordship? Did I not please you enough? I can try to please you better if you wish my lord. Naruto looked down at Nori, and said I doubt there is anything you could do that would please me more than you did earlier. That pleased me greatly. I was just looking at the work Nat has done while we were busy. Nori looked over, and saw 30 feet wall, and said wow, he really has been busy. Walking over to a tree Naruto pissed on it which to his amusement caused the tree to come back to life some, and Naruto shook his head before grabbing his pants, and shirt before slipping them on. Nori quickly put back on the dress she was wearing, and Naruto offered her his hand, and they both walked toward the wall, and when they went on the other side of it, Naruto said, there's more minions now. In a confused tone. Nat said, your lordship. Great news. I remember the location of a spawning pool for some browns, and I have got them to swear allegiance to your greatness. As such the building of the castle walls is moving swiftly, and we should have the outside walls of the castle courtyard done by tomorrow. Naruto said excellent, but what is the difference between you and the brown minions? Nat said there are several types of minions, my lord. Greys like myself are the more educated, and take up the position of leaders of the other minions. Brown minions are stronger and tougher than other minions, but slower. Red minions are immune to fire, and can use fire attacks. Green minions are immune to poisons, and use poison to attack, and are great at stealth and scouting. Lastly is blue minions. Blues have the ability to swim, and are the strongest magic users. Naruto tilted his head to the side, and asked magic. Nori said magic is created by mana, which is a form of energy that can be used similar to life energy. Naruto nodded, and said so what now? I mean you seem to have the walls coming along quickly to defend my tower heart. Nat said if I might make a suggestion my lord. Naruto nods, and Nat says, perhaps you should return to the mortal realm now, and rest your mind and spirit. Naruto asked, how do I do that, and for that matter how exactly did I get here in the first place? Nat said, I do not know how you got here the first time in your lordship, but now that you've established a connection with your tower heart, all you have to do is imagine the place you wish to be, and think of the word Porto. It's best if you are coming here then imagine the tower heart as the safest location to return to. Naruto said, and that's it. Nat said, that's it, your lordship. Naruto looked at Nori who said, it's alright with your lordship. I'll be here when you return. Naruto nods, and says, Nat, I wish for you to consult with Nori for ideas on how to protect the tower heart and the next course of actions that should be taken. Nat said, of course your lordship. I'll make sure all the minions know that Lady Nori is yours, and yours alone. Naruto blinked, and said, what do you mean, Nat? Nori said, what he means by your lordship is that not everyone is as respectful to women as you are to your lordship. Naruto frowned, and started to open his mouth when Nori said, don't worry about it for now, your lordship. You need to rest, and Nat has promised to protect me. Naruto said, alright, if you're sure, but I'll be back to Porto. As he disappeared in a puff of smoke. After he was gone, Nat looked at Nori, and said, so what do you think of our master? Nori said, he's not what I would expect of an overlord. Nat said, I couldn't agree more. I actually like him compared to the other overlords I have heard about, and he is far better than a hero. Nori said, please get the Browns back to work, Nat. They seem to be slacking off. Nat eyes widened before turning, and screaming, get back to work you ungrateful maggots. When Naruto appeared in his apartment he looked at his clock, and blinked, and thought it's only been an hour. I thought I was gone for half a day or better. Well, I can get some sleep now, and after Nori I need it. As a perverted grin appeared on his face. When Naruto woke he thought, man, what a dream. I can't believe that I dreamed I went to another world, and a female voice interrupted his thoughts, and said that wasn't a dream of your lordship. You really did come here. Naruto's eyes widened, and said, Nori, is it you? Nori stood next to the heart of the tower, and said, yes, Lord Naruto. I'm using the link between you and the tower heart to hear and speak to you. The tower heart doesn't just link your energy to it, but also makes it where we can see you and be able to talk to you. You also don't have to speak, just think your words, and those around your heart can hear you. Naruto thought like this. Nori said yes. Naruto thought, cool, so is there a reason you are contacting me besides explaining about this ability? Nori said, Nat was wanting to inform you that they finished the outside courtyard walls, and were about to begin construction of the castle, when I suggested that we consult with your lordship about the castle. I thought that you might be able to research other castles in your world, in order to find out how to make the best one possible to defend the tower heart. Naruto thought that's a good idea. I don't want to be killed by some hero when my life is starting to look up. I am glad you were the first one to find me. I am sure I would have already been killed if I hadn't met you. Nori said, I will do all I can to please and serve you, master. Naruto looked at the clock on the wall and thought, I got to go for now, Nori, but I'll talk to you later. As he got up and took a shower and quickly got dressed. After getting dressed, Naruto headed toward the Hokage Tower, and when he got there he went up to the Sandaime office, and after being allowed to pass by his secretary, entered the Sandaime office. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage of Konoha, looked up at Naruto, and said, hello Naruto, how are you doing this morning? Naruto said, pretty good, old man. I got a couple of questions though. Hiruzen said, well, I will try to answer them if I can't. What would you like to know? Naruto started to open his mouth when the voice of Nat said, my lordship. I would be careful with what you say. I do not know what knowledge there is in your world. Naruto thought I knew, but I trusted Gigi. Hiruzen saw Naruto start to speak, and then his eyes glossed over a moment before they came back into focus, and Hiruzen said, is everything alright, Naruto? Naruto shook his head, and said, yeah. Anyways, I was wondering. You told me last night that the Yondaime summoned the Shinigami to help seal the Kyuubi, right? Hiruzen nods, and Naruto said, I see, I'm not sure, but I think the Shinigami gave me a gift when he sealed the Kyuubi in me. Hiruzen blinked, and said, really, why do you think that? Naruto said, well, last night when I went to sleep I found myself in another place called the Negaverse. Hiruzen's eyes widened, and said, you're an overlord now, aren't you? Naruto's eyes widened, and said, how did you know? Hiruzen frowned, and said, I've been alive for many years now, and have seen and encountered many strange things in Naruto. I've met these so-called heroes. As he spat out the last word, Naruto said, so you don't like those heroes either, huh? Hiruzen said no. Each were power-hungry madmen who caused nothing but pain and suffering in their paths. How much do you know about the Negaverse and the overlords and heroes, Naruto? Naruto said, not much. Nori and Nat have told me some, and are trying to help me understand everything, but I'm confused a lot. Hiruzen asked who Nori and Nat were. Naruto said, well, Nat is a minion. Hiruzen said, minions, the servants of the overlords. Naruto scrunched his nose, and Nori told me that every day that someone is alive is another day that they die. Minions are people sort of like the spirits of humans that are still alive here in this world, but haven't died or been killed yet. They don't remember anything about their life besides their name. After someone dies for real, the minion they are transformed into another creature, depending on what they were like when they were alive. I've only met Nat, Nori, and a few brown minions, but I haven't learned their names yet. Nori is, as he frowned. Hiruzen asked, yes, what is Naruto? Naruto said she's human, but she told me only someone who was used as a human sacrifice in this world stays human when they go to the Negaverse. She and Nat both admit they don't know everything about the Negaverse, but they have helped me learn some about it. Hiruzen took several breaths thinking to himself, and said to Naruto, I admit that I don't know a lot about the overlords of the Negaverse. Most of which I do know I don't like from my encounter with heroes. What are you planning to do with Naruto? Naruto said, right now Nat has finished building the walls around the courtyard to protect my tower heart, and is going to start building a castle to defend it next. Hiruzen asked, what is a tower heart? Naruto said, well, you know. I wonder if Chichi, I don't know if this will work or not, but I think I can. I might be able to take you with me to the Negaverse so you can meet Nori and Nat and see the Tower of Hearts. You want to? Hiruzen pursed his lips and said, what exactly do you think will happen? Naruto said, well, I was thinking that if my clothes were able to go to the Negaverse with me simply because they were touching me, shouldn't I be able to bring anything I'm holding, as well? Hiruzen thought for a moment, and Naruto said, hold on a second Chichi, Nori is talking to me damn heroes. Nori said that heroes have been known to take slaves they claim as their own from this world to the Negaverse, as well as treasures they captured in their quest, so I should have no problem taking you to the Negaverse and back. Hiruzen said, so that's what happened to those people. Very well, I would like to see this Negaverse, as well as meet your friends. Naruto held out his hand, and Hiruzen took it, and Naruto said Porto. The next moment both were gone. Hiruzen blinked, as they both were covered in smoke, and when he clearly found himself in a huge courtyard with walls around him, and Naruto. Nat came over, and said, ah master, you have returned so quickly. Are you pleased with the walls we have erected in your honor, my lord? Naruto looked around, and said they look nice, but how do you get in and out? I don't see a door to get out. Nat said, of course not, your lordship. Until we can get more defenses for the tower heart, I won't make a way for someone to get to it so easily. Nori walked over, and Hiruzen breathed a hitch in his throat as he saw Nori, and Nori said, don't let him trick you, your lordship. He was trying to make plans for the castle, and forgot to keep an eye on the Browns, and well, they were kind of stupid, unless they were ordered what to do, and they just completely sealed the walls. Nat frowned, and said, they're Browns, your majesty, what do you expect, but please forgive them. They're hard workers, and I promise that I will keep a better eye on them in the future to make sure they don't screw up again. Hiruzen said, so you're a minion. Nat looked at Hiruzen, and said, I am the minion taskmaster selected by his lordship Overlord Naruto, and this is Lady Nori, Lord Naruto concubine. Hiruzen's eyes widened, and looked at Naruto, and said concubine. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly, and said Nori said I am whatever his lordship desires me to be. I aim to please, and serve him. Hiruzen frowned, and said Nori, can I ask you a question? Naruto told me that all you remember is your name from when you were living. Is that right? Nat said, in some cases that is true. For those who like Lady Nori who is still human, then yes. She would be able to remember her name, but those of us who are minions are given our name by older, more powerful minions, since we have no memories of our past life. Hiruzen let out a breath he was holding, and said, good. I thought you were someone I knew years ago, but her name wasn't Nori. Nori said, are you talking about Kushina? Hiruzen's eyes widened, and said yes. You know her? Nori said yes. She was taken prisoner by a hero several years ago. I do not know exactly what happened to her after that, though I did hear that hero was killed by a warlock named Minato, who claimed she was his wife. Naruto asked, who's Kushina Chichi? Hiruzen bit his lip, and said, an old friend. Naruto, you said that her husband Minato was a warlock. Nat said he's known for being a master of runes, and is able to do all kinds of magical attacks. I've never seen him myself, but they say that, as he walks, flames lick his footsteps. Some say that he may have to deal with death itself, in order to keep his power he had in the mortal world. Who knows? You know how rumors and legends get. Hiruzen thought that his cloak had flames near his feet, and said yes. I do know, anyways. I was wondering about this tower heart thing I heard about, and what exactly are you planning to do? Nat said, we serve his majesty, and whatever he decides to do we shall carry out his orders. I suggest that we work on increasing his power and followers, because it won't be long before a hero comes and tries to take his tower heart for themselves, or try to destroy his lordship in order to claim his treasure and knowledge. Hiruzen looked at Naruto, and said, so what are you going to do, Naruto? Naruto said, get stronger, Chichi. I don't plan to die for a long time, and I still plan to become Hokage someday. Hiruzen smiled, and said, I see. Naruto said, oh, you wanted to see my tower heart. It's right here. As he walked over to the glowing crystal. As Hiruzen walked closer to it, he said, amazing. I can feel power coming from it. Nori said, that is his lordship power. It's amazing to be in its presence. Isn't it? Hiruzen said, indeed it is. Nat said, that's why heroes will come for it. The power you are feeling is like a drug to power-hungry heroes. The more power they have, the more they want, so they can feel even greater than they are. Hiruzen said, what happens if the tower heart is taken or destroyed? Nat said if it is taken, then his majesty will lose his power, and become weaker until he is destroyed, and if the tower heart is destroyed, then so will his lordship be destroyed. They are links. Together they are strong, but separated they are weakened or destroyed. That is why we must defend it to protect his majesty. And Nori along with the Browns all nod, as well as Nat words. Naruto smiled at how protective everyone was of him, and Hiruzen thought, you found acceptance here Naruto, I'm proud of you, and hope someday that you will find it in Konoha, as well Minato, Kushina. And shook his head, and said well I think we should get back to Konoha. I still have a lot of work to do. Naruto said sure, Jiji, oh that reminds me of Jiji. I came to ask if you had any books on castles, and things like that. Nori thought that I should research castles before building one, so I can better protect my castle heart. Hiruzen said I think I can find something that should help you. Let's return to my office, shall we? Naruto nods, and says alright Jiji. Bye everyone. Nat said, what should we do while we wait for your return to your lordship, since we can't start working on the castle yet? Naruto frowned, and Nori said if I may suggest your lordship. You may not have noticed it yet, but you have a lot of area outside of the castle that hasn't been explored or cleared of rubble yet. We may find treasure, relics, or magical items that could help you become stronger or help protect the castle better. Naruto said that's a great idea, Nat. I want you to send the Browns out to clean up the area around the castle, and see what they can find, but don't go past side of the castle for now. That way if someone comes to take the heart they can help get back in time to defend it. Nat said excellent idea, your lordship. I'll have them get started right away. As he quickly moved over to the Browns, and began to order them around. Hiruzen chuckled, and said seems like you got a good man there, Naruto. Nori laughed, and Naruto asked what's so funny Nori. Nori said grays and blue are always females, while red and browns are always male minions. Green are the only ones that can be both male and female. Females lack physical strength, but make up for it with intelligence and magic control, while males are stronger, but have less control. Naruto's eyes widened, and said so Nat is a woman. As he looked at the gray minion, Hiruzen chuckled, and said I guess what they say is true no matter where you are. Behind every great man is a woman bossing him around. Causing Naruto to chuckle. After calming down Nori said, is there anything else I can do to please you, Lord Naruto? Naruto looked sheepishly at Hiruzen, and said not right now Nori. Maybe later. Nori nods, and Hiruzen giggled pervertedly, and said to Naruto, even though you have Nori here, and no offense to you Lady Nori, but Naruto needs to remember that he can't spend all his time here, and that he has responsibilities back home. He might also try, and find someone who will care for him there, as well. Nat who came over said of course his lordship is going to find other concubines. He will have several mistresses. Some for power, some for pleasure, and some for other reasons. He will also have to have several heirs to help govern his empire, as it grows. Naruto said whoa, slow down. What do you mean empire? Nat, who everyone now knew was a girl, turned her head to the side, and said, how much has the mortal world forgotten about the overlords? Hiruzen frowned, and said what do you mean? Nat said do you still have the lords of the lands? Hiruzen said the feudal lords. Nat said yes. Those feudal lords are all descendants of other overlords who at one time ruled the world. Every time the Shinigami blesses someone to become an overlord it's because there is a great evil in the world who will try to take over it, and it is the job of the overlord to become strong enough to defeat this evil or die destroying it. Those who succeed in destroying the great evil gain a kingdom for themselves, until one of their heirs becomes old enough to take over, and then usually the overlord returns here, since they can't die of old age, due to the tower heart keeping them alive, until some hero comes along, and kills them to take their power, their treasure, and kingdom. Usually that hero uses the power he gains in killing the overlord to return to the mortal world to try and take over it there where he is either defeated by the descendant of an overlord, or the Shinigami creates a new overlord who will rise in power and destroy the hero, and then the cycle repeats itself. Hiruzen blinked and began to think, and said you know that suddenly explains so many questions I never could figure out. Naruto frowned, and said so you're saying that I'm supposed to fight some great evil or something? Nat said in the words of the minion master who named me, evil always finds a way to survive. Humans have the ability to do great and terrible things. Even if you do nothing sooner or later evil will return. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit back and let evil get stronger so more and more people suffer, or are you going to get stronger to defend yourself and those you care about? Hiruzen said, you know Naruto, I find myself agreeing with Nat. She's saying the same thing I have told you about the will of fire. If you truly want to become Hokage someday then you will have to become stronger to do so. Naruto said I guess so, are you ready to go to Jiji? Hiruzen said yes. Naruto walked over and grabbed Hiruzen's arm before he said Porto. Like before, both were covered in smoke and appeared in the Sandame's office, and when they did Hiruzen frowned and said enjoying yourself. Both Naruto and Hiruzen saw a young boy sitting in the Hokage seat, and Naruto asked who is this? As he saw the boy jump out of the seat, Hiruzen said this is my grandson Konohamaru. Naruto said I see. Konohamaru said hey Gramps, how did you do that, and whose is this? Hiruzen said this is Naruto, and that was a special transport. What are you doing here Konohamaru? Konohamaru said Hiruzen sighed and said I see. Another attempt is it? Konohamaru looked sheepishly as Hiruzen took his seat and said to Naruto, have you had your registration picture taken yet? Naruto shook his head no, and Hiruzen said then if you don't mind, can you go get that taken care of, as well as your registration? By the time you do that, and go get you something to eat, I should have a couple of books for you about what we were discussing. Naruto nodded, and said if you don't mind, can you keep that quiet for now? After hearing what Nat said I don't want to draw too much attention to myself right now. Hiruzen said you know Naruto, you seem more mature now than you used to be. Naruto looked out the window, and said I realize life's not a game anymore, GG. See you later Konohamaru. As he left. After he was gone Hiruzen saw Konohamaru looking at Naruto, and began to follow him. Chuckling to himself he thought I'm not surprised Konohamaru would find himself drawn to Naruto, but what should I do with this new information? If Minato the Warlock is really Minato, then I had better find a way to make sure Naruto is ready for that information, and doesn't turn on Konoha. The last time I saw Hiro it cost the lives of over 200 of my men to take him down. I fear what the power of an Overlord could be, especially when that Overlord is a Jinchuriki for the Kyuubi. After getting his picture taken, Naruto looked at the boy who was hiding behind a flag, and said, is there a reason you're hiding Konohamaru? Konohamaru said I would expect nothing more than my new boss to detect me. Naruto looked confused, and asked the boss. Why do you call me boss? Konohamaru said I've seen enough of Grandpa's ninja to know when someone is using someone else. You are Grandpa so that means you must be strong if Grandpa lets you. Naruto said Ujiji was just giving an exam to make sure I knew what I was doing with them. Konohamaru frowned, and said I hadn't thought of that. Naruto said well, I have to go back to see Jiji about some stuff. Talk to you later Konohamaru. As he started to leave, Konohamaru said hey, you want to play ninja with me? Naruto thought for a moment, and said sure. Just then a man in glasses wearing a bandana walked up, and said honorable grandson. It's time to go. As he pushed his sunglasses up while shooting a sneer at Naruto. Naruto frowned, and thought glare all you want, bastard. I'll prove you and everyone else wrong someday. As he said good luck Konohamaru. As he turned and walked away. After leaving Konohamaru Naruto returned to the Sandame office, and entered it. Once inside the Sandame said Naruto, right on time. I got some books for you I think you and your friends should look at. As he pointed to a stack of 10 books. Naruto walked over and read the title, Castles and Fortress of the World. Greatest Battles in History Vol 1. Greatest Battles in History Vol 2. Greatest Battles in History Vol 3. History of the Elemental Nations. Knights, Mages, and Priestess. Kingdoms of the World. Demons and Monsters of Legends. A Beginner's Guide to Seals. Seals for Idiots. Looking confused at the book titles, Hiruzen said the Book of Castles and Fortress of the World gives descriptions about the castles. Greatest Battles in History tells several stories about attacks on towns, outposts, and villages, which can help you defend your castle by seeing how others would attack yours in order to counter them. The book on the history of the elemental along with the Kingdom of the Worlds will help you understand the political situation you are in. I can tell you're not used to the terms of people referring to you as nobility, so those books will help you with that. The book on Knights, Mages, and Priestess along with the book on Demon and Monsters of Legends are books that I have read looking for information on heroes, as well as what few things I know about overlords and the Negaverse. The other 2 books are about seals. When I heard about Minato and his runes I thought that they are similar to our seals. I thought that if nothing else would give you something to look out for. Naruto smiled and said, thanks, Jiji, but when are you going to tell me the truth? Hiruzen said, what do you mean? Naruto frowned and said a guy named Minato made a deal with the Shinigami. Someone whose wife is named Kushina that looks like someone you know, and I bet looks like Minato's wife. I saw the look on your face. It's him isn't it? It's Yandame. Hiruzen sighed and said to Naruto, I don't know. Part of me hopes it is because I know that you want to speak with him about where you came from, and about who your parents are, but there is no guarantee that it is him, or that he actually does remember things from when he was alive. I would hate that it actually be him, and you meet him, and not remember what you want to speak with him about. Also there is the fact that since people change when they get there that he may not be who he was when he was Yandame. He could be as bad or worse than a hero please Naruto. Until you know more about what it is like there, as well as getting stronger, do not seek him out. Naruto, seeing the worried look on Hiruzen's face, said alright, Jiji, I won't seek him out for now, but why are you so accepting of this? I mean, Hiruzen said I saw the look on your face around Nori and Nat. I know that with everything you went through that odds are you would choose them over Konoha, because unlike the people here, they respect you, and you seem happy with them. I care for you Naruto, and I don't want to see the day where you become an enemy of Konoha, and if you left Konoha to be with them now that you're a ninja, there would be nothing I could do to keep you from becoming a missing nin, and treated as such. Naruto said someday I'll prove to everyone who I really am. Just wait, and see Jiji. Hiruzen said I hope you do, and I hope to be there to see that day. As he rubbed Naruto's hair affectionately, as Naruto stood beside his desk. Naruto said well Jiji, I guess I should go. Hiruzen said I know though I do have one more thing for you. As he pulled out a scroll. Naruto looked at the scroll, and Hiruzen said, "This is a couple of training exercises that will help you get stronger. You should look at them, and do them." Naruto said, "Thanks, Gigi." Hiruzen said, "Don't forget you have to be at the academy next Monday at 10 AM for team placements." Naruto nodded, and said, "Sure, Gigi. Well, I guess I better go. See ya, Porto." Before he disappeared. After he was gone, Hiruzen thought, please let this help form a bond here, and not create a stronger enemy. When Naruto got back to the Negaverse, he saw Nori reading a scroll, and saw a small pile of gold, and a couple of old-looking clubs, and daggers. Nat said, "Ah, Your Excellency, you've returned. I am pleased to inform you that we have cleared the area around the castle, as far as a minion can see, and we have found some gold for your treasury, as well as a few old weapons that you of course have first dibs on, and a scroll that Lady Nori has been reading." Naruto said, "I can see that, Nat. Good job." Nat said, "I see you have some new items, my lord. Are they to help with the castle?" Naruto said yes. Gigi said these would help with helping to build the castle, as well as give several strategies that others would use to attack the castle, so that we may defend against them. I haven't had a chance to look through them yet, so Nat said, "Not to worry, my lord." As she began to speak some words Naruto did not understand before the books began to float into the air, and fly around the tower heart while glowing. Grunting, Naruto grabbed his head, and screamed in pain before passing out. When Naruto woke, he groaned, and moved his hand to his head, and said, "What happened?" Nat said, "Forgive me, Your Excellency. I was not aware of the amount of knowledge in those books, or I would have done them all one at a time." Naruto glared at Nat, and said, "What did you do, and why the hell do I suddenly know what was in those books?" Nat said, "I used an enchantment that the minion master who named me used when enchanting the library of her master. It allows all the knowledge that is stored in the library to be given to her master without wasting time reading them." Naruto said, "I will see next time before you do something like that. Warn me so I can be prepared for all that information to be absorbed." Nat said, "Of course, Your Excellency. If I might ask your lordship, now that you know everything in those books, how shall we build your castle?" Naruto pursed his lips together for a moment, and asked, "Are the walls around the courtyard just stone walls, or are they enforced?" Nat said, "Just stone from the rubble we cleared the master." Naruto said, "That wouldn't do well. If someone uses a battering ram, they would be able to break the walls. We need to reinforce the walls, as well as make them where we can place guards there to watch for enemies, but that will be later. Do any of you have blacksmithing skills?" Nat frowned, and said, "No, my lord. None of the minions here have blacksmithing skills." Naruto frowned, and said, "Damn, do you know anyone who blacksmiths?" Nat said, "I do, but is currently out of reach." Nori said, "I know someone, but I can't guarantee that they would help. They may even attack you." Naruto frowned, and said, "Why would they attack me?" Nori said, "Because you might not be able to afford them." Nat asked, "Who are you speaking about?" Nori said, "The Great Dwarfs. They are the best blacksmiths outside the elves that I know of, and they are also the closest to our current location." Nat frowned, and said, "You're right. The Great Dwarfs are the best, and they wouldn't work for the amount of gold we currently have." Naruto said, "Damn. I guess we will either have to get more gold or do without what I want." Nat said, "Not necessarily, master. The dwarfs may be greedy, but they are also honorable creatures. If you challenge the leader of the dwarfs to a battle of honor, then it might be possible to have the leader give you one of their blacksmiths." Naruto said, "But why would they accept a battle with me?" Nat said, "The dwarfs don't know how powerful you are yet or how rich you are. You can go and challenge them to a battle, and offer them all your gold and weapons if they win, but if they lose, then they have to give you one of their blacksmiths as a servant." Naruto frowned, and said, "Very well. It's a necessary evil." And thought, of course, if I didn't know that this kind of thing happens a lot in the world from those books Gigi gave me, then I wouldn't do this. And said, "Where are these dwarfs?" Nori said, "If you wish, my lord, I can lead you." Naruto said, "Very well." Nat said, "My lord, take the Browns with you. I shall stay and guard the tower heart." Naruto frowned, and said, "No. I'll do this myself for now, Nat. You need them to stay here and help you dig into the ground and begin looking for metal to use." Nat said, "Are you planning to put a dungeon or catacombs, master?" Naruto said yes, as well as a maze that can be used to lure enemies into that can be used to trap them. Nat said, "Very well, my lord, but please be careful." Naruto nods and says, "Shall we, Nori?" Nori nods, and Naruto says, "Hey wait, how do we get out of here?" Nat said, "Oh, well, we built a secret tunnel to get in and out, my lord. It's over here." As she moved over and motioned to a couple of Browns who moved a stone slab to the side, and both Naruto and Nori followed Nat into the tunnel and came out the other side, which came out inside a hollow tree, and Naruto frowned and said, "That isn't going to work, Nat. Once we get the blacksmith and begin building the castle, I want you to destroy this tunnel." Nat said, "Yes, my lord. Is there anything else?" Naruto shook his head no, and said, "So which way do we go, Nori?" Nori said, "This is my lord." As she began to walk away. After walking for 10 minutes, Naruto stopped and said, "What the hell? What is this gray shit that is in front of us?" Nori looked at Naruto confused before her eyes widened, and said, "Oh, forgive me, my lord. You remember how I told you about your tower heart energy spreading out and bathing those close to it in it? Well, this is currently the range of your power. Since you are still alive, the area past that ring of influence is blind to you. I hadn't thought to explain how to extend your range of power. Remember how you first created your tower heart? Well, you can extend your power reach by finding another item like a giant boulder or a tree or something of decent size, and send your energy into it. That will create a tower beacon that will link to the tower heart and extend your range. If you acquire a detection spell, and place it on the map in your map room once it's built, if anyone enters the range of your power it will appear on your map to warn you of their approach. Naruto asked, how do you know so much about Nori? Nori said, I've been here for many years, and I listen to others, and learn from them. Naruto said, makes sense I guess, so all I have to do is place some energy into an object like that tree there. Nori nods, and Naruto walks over to a tree, and sends some chakra into it, and the tree begins to glow before it changes into a silver pole, and the grey fog area that was in front of Naruto begins to move back before disappearing. Naruto said, that's cool. So shall we continue to the dwarfs? Nori said, yes, your lordship. As she began leading Naruto away again. 6 hours later, and 10 tower beacons, Naruto and Nori stood in front of a cave with a door with strange writing on it. Naruto looked at Nori, and asked, what now? Nori said, are you sure you wish to do this, your lordship? I mean, I know you're young, but are you sure you will be able to defeat a dwarf? Naruto said, I don't know. I have never met one before, so I can't say for sure if I can or not, but I need a blacksmith, so I have to do this. Nori sighed, and spoke something in a language Naruto didn't know, and the door glowed before opening. Naruto's eyes whitened, and said, damn, things here are so cool. What was that? Nori said, the elf language. A friend of mine taught it to me when I first arrived here. Shall we be, my lord? Naruto nodded, and took the lead, and it wasn't long before several short men with long beards and big noses wearing armor appeared blocking the path, and one began to speak in a language Naruto did not understand. Nori stepped forward, and began to speak in the same language also, and Naruto thought, damn, I wish I knew what they were saying. After several minutes the men grunted, and Nori said, they have agreed to take us to see their leader, your lordship. Naruto said, good, I just wish I knew what you were all saying. Nori said, I don't speak the dwarf language, but most races speak the elvish language. Naruto said, I see. Can you teach me? Nori said, I'm afraid that only an elf can teach someone the elvish language. I don't know how to explain it, sire. All I can guess is that it is a spell that only they know. Naruto frowned until his eyes widened, as they came into a large cavern city with hundreds of dwarves across a bridge that connected the tunnel they came out of to the city. One of the two men who escorted them quickly ran into the city, while the other stood in front of Naruto and Nori with his arms crossed. Nori stopped walking, and Naruto, who looked at Nori, said, the other guard went to the leader of the dwarfs. Naruto nods, crosses his arms, and begins to look at the city. A few minutes later several men came walking out in armor, along with a very old-looking man with white hair, and the man with white hair moved forward and began to speak. Nori began to speak back to him, and the old man's eyes widened, as did several others before the old man began to speak again. Nori began to speak aggressively toward the elderly man, while several of the dwarfs grabbed their weapon, and glared at Naruto, who looked at Nori, but continued to speak heatedly. Naruto said, what's being said to Nori? Nori turned to Naruto, and said, the elder didn't believe your claim that you are an overlord. I was just merely explaining to him that you are. Hearing the old man speak again, Nori turned back to him, and spoke very aggressively toward him, and the old man raised his voice silencing Nori, as well as making all the dwarfs look at him. The old man pointed a finger at Naruto, and spoke in a serious tone, and Naruto asked, what does he said to Nori? Nori took a deep breath, and said, he is asking if this is what you really want. Naruto nodded his head yes, and the old man spoke again, and turned to look behind him, and a dwarf in red armor stepped forward onto the bridge, while the old man spoke while pointing at him. Nori frowned, and said, that is the elder's son of my lord. The elder said that you, and he will battle. If you defeat him he will agree to your request, but if you fail he will kill me. Naruto's eyes widened, and looked at Nori, and hissed what? Nori said he didn't believe that you were an overlord, and was going to kill you for your claim. I argued with him to prove that you really were an overlord. In our argument I made a deal with him. You fight his strongest warrior. If you defeat him then he will acknowledge you as an overlord, and give you one of their dwarfs blacksmith as a servant. If you fail to defeat his strongest warrior though then his strongest warrior will kill you in battle, and then kill me after, as she looked scared and away from Naruto. Naruto narrowed his eyes, and said, after what, Nori? Nori looked down, and said, after he used me to sedate his bloodlust. Naruto growled, and said, over my dead body. As he walked past Nori onto the bridge glaring at the dwarf he was supposed to fight who pulled out a pair of battle axes off his back. Naruto growled, and said, Nori, translate word for word what I am about to say. Nori said, yes, sire. Naruto glared at the man in front of him, and said, you doubting my claim as an overlord is one thing. You have not seen my strength of battle or character, and I can forgive that. Naruto's eyes began to turn from blue to red, as red chakra began to slowly come off Naruto's body, as the whisker marks on his cheek expanded, and his pupils became slit, and Naruto said, but threatening to harm those who are my subjects, especially one who is special to me, cannot be forgive. I'll prove to you once, and for all that I am the overlord, as I destroy this fool. Kai was coming off Naruto's body at this point, as all the dwarfs began to look at Naruto in fear, as Nori translated Naruto words, but felt herself blushing, as she saw, and felt Naruto's protective presence. The armored dwarf who was looking at Naruto, began to back up away from Naruto, but Naruto disappeared from view, and the next moment Naruto held the dwarf over the side of the bridge, which the bottom of could not be seen, by his neck glaring at him, while the dwarf was choking to death from not being able to breathe. The dwarf leader quickly began to scream at Naruto, and Nori said, "Sire, the leader is begging you to spare his son's life. He begs for your forgiveness, and will do anything." Naruto looked at the elder, and said, "Anything?" Nori quickly translated, and the elder nodded, and Naruto said, "He along with all his people now serve me, and will do as I command. Either he agrees to become my subjects, and I will spare his son's life, or he refuses, and I kill his son, and make his people my slaves." Naruto saw the elder close his eyes before getting on his knees, and bowing to Naruto. Naruto seeing this through the leader's son, he was choking on the ground in front of the elderly dwarf, and said, "Tell him to have his blacksmiths to come to my kingdom, and assist my minions in building my castle. Tell him also to bring all his people's treasure, spells, armor, and weapons." The elder quickly began to speak after hearing Nori translate, and Nori said he said that will leave his people with nothing. Naruto said, "Tell him that his arrogance, and pride he had from having those items, is what put him in this situation to begin with. I am allowing him to keep his people alive, their homes to live in, as well as food to feed their people with so they may live. They have forgotten what is really important. A leader is responsible for protecting and caring for his people, not filling their pockets with gold. Gold will not remember you once you're dead or once you spent it. Weapons and armor will fall to the ground useless if the person using it cares more about their own self than the people they are fighting to protect." Naruto let Nori finish translating, and saw the look on all the dwarfs' faces, as they heard Naruto words, and Naruto saw the guard who had run in to contact the elder get down on one knee, and place his fist over his heart, and he began to speak. Nori translated, and said, "Overlord, you are a powerful warrior, and an honorable leader, allow me to serve you, as your subject." After Nori translated, several others began to also repeat what the guard did, as more and more began to do it before everyone in the village was kneeled before Naruto, and the leader of the dwarf, and his son both bowed completely on the ground after seeing other people's actions, and the elder spoke. Nori translated, "Please forgive me for my pride and arrogance, and allow me and my people to serve you not as slaves, but as loyal subjects. All we have is yours." Naruto said, "So be it." The next day Nat was overseeing the work of the Browns when the sound of marching feet was heard approaching the castle walls. Nat quickly ordered the Browns to grab weapons to defend the tower heart, as she also grabbed some. A few minutes later the walls around the castle crumbled to the ground on one side. When the dust from the wall falling cleared, Nat and the other minions got wide-eyed, as they saw Naruto and Nori standing beside several dwarfs who were armed, and Naruto was pointing at the destroyed wall with Nori translating, and the dwarfs began speaking back, and Naruto nods before the dwarfs began to move around, knocking down the rest of the walls. Nat moved toward Naruto after ordering the Browns to remain guarding the heart, and Nat said, "My lord, what is going on?" Naruto shrugged, and said, "Nothing much. I picked up a few new subjects to aid my kingdom." Nat looked around, as she saw more and more dwarfs, and asked how many are a few. Naruto shrugged, and said 300 give or take a couple. Nat's eyes widened before she smiled, and said, "I knew you were going to be a great overlord, sire." Nori said, "You have no idea about Nat. No idea at all." As she blushed while looking at Naruto, who had several live bites on his neck from her showing him her thanks and gratitude for his actions the previous day. Naruto smirked, as he heard Nori's words before his eyes widened, and said, "That reminds me of Nat." As he turned and motioned to a group of dwarfs who were not moving. The group began to move toward Naruto before he said, "Can you help these dwarfs place these items in their proper places?" As the dwarfs set down several treasure chests and opened them showing gold, weapons, armor, books, scrolls, and other items. Nat's eyes widened and said, "Oh my." Before she fainted in shock, causing both Naruto and Nori to look at each other and burst out laughing. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.